Okay, let's start it. Hello guys, welcome to the 5th session of our DBA Beginner's Guide. I'm your old friend Peng Wang, the global technical evangelist for OceanBase. As you know, this chapter focuses on OceanBase database migration and synchronization, a crucial topic for database administrator. However, it's such a rich and expensive subject that I split it into 2 parts. Last week, we laid the foundation by discussing the basics of database migration, the primary tools, and the best practice for smooth transitions. This week, we will build on this foundation and dive into the advanced aspects of this topic. We will explore tools like 𝘠𝘐𝑑umper and 𝘠𝘐𝑙oader, indispensable for its efficient data exporter and import, and introduce 𝑘eyCode command export along with other key ecological components of OceanBase. To ramp things up, we will also compare various migration components to help you understand their strengths and change the right one for your case. At the end of today's session, you will have a more comprehensive understanding of how to handle data migration and synchronization within the OceanBase ecosystem. Let's dive in and get started from the introduction to 𝘠𝘠𝑑umper and 𝘠𝘠𝑙oader. 𝘠𝘠𝑙oader is a client tool developed in Java, which is only suitable for OceanBase. Currently, it supports us to import the definition files and the table data of database objects in the storage object into OceanBase. It's also compatible with MySQL dump and CSV format files exported by client tools such as 𝘠𝘠𝘕. For 𝘠𝘠𝑙oader, some special optimization have been made to optimize the data import performance, and many data pre-processing functions are built in. I will introduce it later. As for product feature, I will not introduce it in detail. The same is true for 𝘠𝘠𝑑umper. It's just the opposite of 𝘠𝘠𝑙oader. It exports the data schema and table data in the database to the corresponding storage media. Compared with client tools such as MySQL dumper, 𝘠𝘠𝑑umper has several advantages. One is the ability to quickly export data. A variety of data query strategies are designed here to improve its performance, as well as rich data exchange capabilities, supporting the export of table data in multiple formats to multiple storage media. There are also some powerful data processing capabilities, which compress, encrypt, desensitize, and pre-processing data before exporting. I won't introduce the product features in detail. You can take a look on your own. Here are some precautions. For example, please refer to the RFC specification for standard CSV format. It's recommended that the RFS specification be strictly followed when importing. When importing and exporting large amounts of data, modify the memory parameters of JVM in the running script to improve performance. In this case, the object names, data file names, and root file names specified in the command line parameters must match exactly. Since MySQL default to lowercase, if you need to distinguish between uppercase and lowercase, include the table names in bracket. When importing, 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘪 can recognize the file name format of table name plus file extension. You can use this command line option to implement custom file such rules through regular expressions. When database objects have dependency, it's best to import them in the correct dependency order, using options like or table star does not guarantee the process import order. Tables without primary key does not support breakpoint resume yet. Before using 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘪 in OceanBase version 3.2.4 and the later version, ensure the open course system configuration is set to a high value to avoid import failures. After completing the data import, reset it to the original value. When importing DDL, note the difference between the mix and the DDL options. Just like DDL option is designed for files containing a single DDL element, the mix option does not have this restriction. 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘪 supports the following file formats, just like DDL file, CSV, SQL, 𝑘rc, ORC, parquin, mix, and post, and card file. For other information, please refer to our official website document. Okay? The preparation before using 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘪 and 𝘂𝘵Dumper are relatively simple. The first is the operating environment, including the system version, Java environment, charset, JVM parameters, and others. The second is the runtime permission of 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠. When using 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠 to connect to the OceanBase database to import data, the amount linked to the database must have the execution permission of commands such as create, select, insert, and update. Before importing data, the user needs to have the OceanBase database query permission. The third one is the runtime permission of 𝘂𝘵Dumper. When using 𝘂𝘵Dumper to connect to OceanBase to export data, the account linked to database must have the execution permission of commands such as create and select. Before exporting data, the user needs to have the query permission of the OceanBase. Next is the download and installation method, which is very simple. Go directly to the official website to download the installation package. After uncompression, execute this command to view and get the help option. Next are a few examples of import and export. I will share with you briefly. When executing 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠 and 𝘂𝘵Dumper, its command line options are divided into basic and advanced options. The basic options are some of our commonly used options, including username, password, port, and others, for connecting to the database. And the functional options including the file format, database object type, storage path, and others. Advanced options including timestamp format, error handling, and some performance options. Here are two examples. One is the 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠 import example. When 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘠 is executed, we need to parse in its IP, port, username, password, and corresponding database name, as well as the format of the imported file and the storage path of the file. The other is the 𝘂𝘵Dumper example, which is similar to 𝘂𝘵𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠. so I won't introduce it here. Next is the bypass import. There are several important parameters here. One is RPC port. It's used to connect to the OB server RPC port. The option is used with direct and parallel to connect to the OB server RPC port to import data in bypass import mode. Direct parameters is used to specify bypass import mode. The parallel parameter is used to control the parallelism during data loading in bypass import. Here are some things to be noted. Just like OB loader bypass import mode does not currently support binary data types. And OB loader bypass import mode supports connecting OB server and ODP. Corresponding version requirement when connecting to OB server, the OB server version must be version 4.2.0 or later. When connecting to ODP, the ODP version must be 4.1.3 or later. And the OB server version must be 4.2.1 or later. Next, let's briefly introduce how to optimize the performance of data import. First, it's the tuning of command line options. For wide tables or table with large column values, we can speed up the importing by reducing the parameter value of the batch option. The second is that the index will affect the import performance of database. Except for primary keys and unique keys, for ordinary indexes, we recommend creating them after the data is imported. The last one is that when the machine load and the network load is relatively low, you can adjust the parameter value of the thread option, and you can increase it. The second is the parameter adjustment of the virtual machine. We can directly modify the executable file. Then adjust the memory of GVL. It's recommended to change it to 60% of the available physical memory. Finally, let's turn off the database. Let's tuning the database kernel. The performance of the database kernel mainly import data, which will affect the write speed of the tenant's incremental memory. When the incremental memory is insufficient, the database will trigger a merge or dump. Mergers consume performance, so we can adjust the memory size and try not to trigger its merge, its compaction or dump. The second one is when the incremental memory usage reaches the tenant speed limit threshold, the import performance will also decrease. The third one is when the incremental memory usage is full, data import may fail easily. It's recommended that the tenant speed limit threshold be higher than 90. The setting of the dump related parameters is related to the size of tenant memory and the write speed, and needs to be tuned according to the actual scenarios. For specific parameters, first one is OB/SQL work area persistence, which is the percentage of memory used by each SQL statement. The default value is 5. Here, we recommend adjusting it to 20. The second parameter is max load packet, which is the maximum data size of network packet that the server can receive. Here, we also recommend increasing it. The next parameter sets the tenant memory usage threshold that triggers the global freeze. we recommend reducing this parameter value. The next parameter has been deprecated in version 4. So we will not introduce it here. The following parameters sets the threshold for triggering layer dumps to push data to the next layer. We recommend to set it as 16. The next parameter has also deprecated in version 4, so we will not introduce. The following parameter is used to set the number of concurrent threads for small compaction. We will recommend to set it as 48. The last parameter sets the server memory current limit threshold. We recommend to set it as 100. It means disable server current limit. We also have several methods for optimizing export performance. The first is to optimize the command line option, which can speed up export by setting the concurrency of export and the shared size of each task. The second is to optimize virtual machine memory, which is similar to the import tuning just mentioned. The last one is the database kernel level tuning, which is relatively simple. We don't need to modify any parameters, but only need to manually initiate a compaction. Next, let's talk about the data processing. The data processing refers to the straightforward handling of data using control files during import or export operations. Here, we need to define a control file. The following is the format of the control file, which includes column name, byte offset, pre-processing functions, and mapping definitions. The byte offset position, it supports two declaration methods, absolute offset and relative offset. Pre-processing function is used to configure a pre-processing function for the specified column in the control file to pre-process the imported data. Mapping definition is the column position of pre-processed data in the imported data file. Here, we need to note that the naming convention of the control file is table name point control, and the control file corresponding to one table. When pre-processing data from multiple tables, you need to create multiple control files under control path, and the control file name must be the same as the corresponding table name to be imported. And the last one, use the control path option to specify the absolute path to the control file. The pre-processing function actually means that when defining the control file, the user can configure the corresponding pre-processing functions for each column. There are several points to be noted here. The first one, the formal parameters of any pre-processing function can only reference to the value of current column. And across column references are not supported yet. The second one, the pre-processing functions LPADB and RPADB are suitable for choices such as letters, numbers, and Chinese characters. Truncation may occur when processing emoji. And the third one is pre-processing function replace behaviors differently in the derivative tools than in Oracle and MySQL. The syntax is closer to Oracle, and its implementation is closer to MySQL. Okay, and we will not introduce the following content in detail. And if you are interested, you can review it after this lesson. Okay, the third part is a conditional expression. When defining a control file, you can use the conditional expression to perform single logical and arithmetic operations to achieve more complex data processing capabilities. Let's take a look at an example directly. Here is a simple example. Let's look at the column C1. Its preprocessing function converts the letters in column C1 to lowercase. So it's very simple. And then let's look at the preprocessing of the conditional expression. For example, the column C20. It will match the value in column C20. If it's true, it will return the value of corresponding column. You can look at other columns on your own. Okay. Next, I will briefly introduce how to import and export data through SQL command. There are three main commands here. We will use these commands to import and export data in some simple scenarios. The first one is select into out file. The second one is load data. The last one is insert into select. Next, I will give you a brief explanation of the three commands. The first command is select into out file, which is a data export command. That is, through this command, we can export the data in the database to our web file. The following is its syntax. You can see that the syntax is very simple. Here are some parameters in SQL syntax. For example, column list option is export to column names. File root option is export file path. And let's focus on the third parameter, format of field option. This option defines the field format for export. It specifies the format of each field in the output file, as indicated by the fields and columns. The first one is terminate by. It's used to specify the symbol between field values. The second one, enclosed by, is the symbol used to specify the enclosing field value. The last one, escaped by, is used to specify an escape character. The fourth parameter is start and end option. The option defines the start and end characters for exporting data lines. The following parameters are relatively simple. You can review them on your own. Next, let's look at a simple example. Let's first create table 1 in the test database of tenant MySQL 001 and insert data. And then set the exported file path. Here we need to pay attention to set the system variable. This variable to configure the paths that can be accessed when importing and exporting files. Finally, we can execute the export command to get the exported file, named table1.sql. We can use the cat command to check the content in the export file. The second is the load data command. When user import data from the outside into the database, we will use the load data command. Currently supporting importing from the server, client, and OSS file. We have some precautions for this command. There are load data statement is not allowed for tables with triggers. And to import data from an external file, you need the file privilege and the following setting. 1. When loading server-side files, you need to set the system variable, this variable in advance to configure the path and can be accessed when importing or exporting files. When loading local files on the client, you need to add this option when starting the MySQL or OB client to enable the function of loading data from the local file system. The next is the process of load data. The first one, parsing files. OceanBase database reads the data in the file according to the file name entered by the user. Decides to parse the data in the input files in the parallel and according to the specified parallelism. The second one, distribute data. Since OceanBase is a distributed database, the data of each partition may be distributed on different OB server nodes. Load data will calculate the parsed data and determine which OB server node the data needs to be sent to. The last one, insert data. When the target OB server node receives the data, it executes the insert operation locally to insert the data into the corresponding partition. Okay. Next is the load data grammar. The grammar is relatively simple. So we will not introduce here, and maybe you can review it after this lesson. Let's take a look at the meaning of the parameters. The first one, parallel. It's the parallelism of loading data. N defaults to 4. And the second one, load batch size. Specifies the batch size of each insert. The default value of M is 100. The recommended value range is from 100 to 1000. Append parameter. Use hint to enable bypass import, which means that the space is allocated directly in the data file and the data is written. Append hints is equivalent to using direct by default, and can also realize the function of collecting statistics online. And the first one is direct. Use hint to enable bypass import. The parameter in director indicates whether the given CSV file needs to be stored. Okay, and I will not introduce the following parameters, and you can review it on your own. Next, let's look at 3 examples. The first one is to import data from the server-side file. The second one is import data from client's local file. The third one is to import data from the OSS file. Next is the syntax of insert into. The command is very simple. We can directly migrate the data from one table to another table in this way. We can also filter data in this process. Here we look at an example. We have table 1. which has 6 rows of data. At the same time, we have another table, table 2. Then we execute the inZINTO command to import the data in the table 1 into the table 2. And finally, you can see the data imported from the table 1 displayed on the screen. And the data filtering condition is age greater than 10. Finally, let's talk about the bypass import. Why do we keep emphasizing bypass import? Because bypass import has very fast permission, especially in some large table scenarios. Through this bypass import, we can speed up the overall import rate, basically with the 5 to 6 times permission improvement. You can review the commands just introduced. Next, let's introduce other ecological components. First, let's introduce 𝘔𝘂𝘰𝘂𝘁𝑑𝑐. 𝘔𝘂𝘰𝑑𝑐 is a source connector of Apache Flink. It supports real-time reading of the historical and incremental data from most databases, and then synchronize the data to the target end through Flink. Flink also provides some SQL APIs and data stream APIs. This API can help us clean and aggregate data during data migration. The usage scenarios are mainly some big data usage scenarios. 𝘔𝘂𝘰𝑑𝑐 is used to do some data processing and then synchronize it to our data warehouse or data lake. Later, data mining, data analysis, or report BI can be done. You can also go to the official website of 𝘔𝘂𝘰𝑑𝑐 to check the data source and the target ends it supports. Here is the case of MySQL data migration. If you are interested, you can go and have a look. The next one is 𝘂𝘀𝑒𝑙. 𝘂𝘀𝑒𝑙 is an open source product of Alibaba. The main purpose is to burst incremental logs based on MySQL database and provide subscription and consumption of incremental data. The picture shows the working principle of 𝘂𝘀𝑒𝑙. 𝘂𝘀𝑒𝑙 will disguise itself as the slave library of MySQL and then dump binlog from the master library of MySQL. At the same time, 𝘂𝘀𝑒𝑙 will parse binlog and interpret it as corresponding data to the downstream. If the data source is OceanBase, it's necessary to rely on 𝘔𝘂𝘏𝑗𝑐. We have introduced 𝘔𝘂𝘏𝑗𝑐 before. It's the incremental log proxy services of OceanBase. 𝘔𝘂𝘏𝑗𝑐 will deserialize these incremental logs of OceanBase to generate corresponding log message objects and give them to 𝘂𝘀𝑒𝑙. There is also a case here on how to migrate from MySQL to OceanBase. If you are interested, you can also learn it. Next is DataX. DataX is the open source version of Alibaba Cloud DataWorks, and is widely used offline data synchronization platform within the Alibaba Group. DataX itself supports multiple data sources. So, what does DataX do? From the left picture, we can see that the data synchronization we built it before is similar to a mesh structure. It will create many data synchronization links. which will be very compacted as a whole. 𝘕𝑗𝘓 simplifies this by transforming it into a star-shaped architecture, as shown in the right picture. Its architecture is relatively simple, which is the framework plus plugin, including read plugin and write plugin. During the read process, DataX will collect data and then send the data to the framework. The writing process is just the opposite. That is, the corresponding data is continuously written to my destination. Finally, there is also a migration case. You can go and see how to use DataX for data migration. Finally, let's introduce 𝘕𝑗𝘓. 𝘕𝑗𝘓 is a distributed and highly scalable data integration platform designed for transferring data between diverse storage systems. It offers user-friendly configure data flow task plugins, enabling users to define and manage data processing and transformation data workflows easily. From the architecture diagram, we can see that the 𝘕𝑗𝘓 supports a wide range of data sources and target types. Its data processing workload is similar to DataX, with the added capability of leveraging Spark and Flink for data processing. The last part is the comparison of different components. We have introduced the various migration components above. Here, we will compare their migration solutions. We will compare from several different perspectives, including schema migration, full data migration, incremental data migration, data verification, and supported data sources. We first recommend OMS for data migration and synchronization. If we encounter data sources that OMS does not support, we will consider using other tools for data migration. If we only want to do simple data import and export through the command line, we can also use 𝘠𝘶𝘕loader or 𝘠𝘶Dumper directly. Welcome to the official website of OceanBase to learn more and of each migration plan. Okay, if you have any questions, now is perfect time to ask. Okay, let me check. Okay, no questions? Before we wrap up, I'd like to remind you that our next lesson will be next Thursday evening, where we will be covering the operation and maintenance of OceanBase. We look forward to seeing you then. You can also reach out anytime through our OceanBase, GitHub, Slack, or Discord community for further assistance. We are always here to help. we will be sharing how you can access the course materials and today's presentation slides in the comments section of this video. All the resources are free. Don't forget to subscribe to our OceanBase YouTube channel and join our community to stay up to date and get involved with us. See you guys. Bye bye.